Hi, it's Ursula from EasyScraps.com, and today I'm going to show you how to use paint with your rubber stamps. I was trying to explain it to some friends of mine in a Facebook group in words, and I didn't do a very good job of it, so I'm going to try and videotape it, and hopefully that makes a lot more sense. Anyway, sit back, and I hope you enjoy this video. So here are some of the things that we're going to use in this video today. We're going to use some rubber stamps. So I'm using one that's kind of more like a blob of rubber. And then I'm going to use two other ones that are a little more detailed. One is a clock face and the other one is like a mesh or netting border and doesn't have, it's detailed but it isn't not deeply etched. So we're going to play around with both of those. And this was what I was trying to explain on Facebook. I just take a piece of junky felt and I fold it into fourths and I make it into a little mini ink pad. And then, of course, we're going to use something to stamp on. I'm just using cardstock, colored cardstock. And part of the reason why you might want to use paint is it's more opaque than most inks. And so I'm going to use two different types, just regular golden, and these one's by Adirondack that's got a dabber on top. And I'll show you two different ways of inking with it. So again, I'm going to stamp on cardstock, but the other reason you might want to use paint is if you're stamping on top of something you've already painted. You can sometimes get away using StazOn ink, but a lot of times it's better using paint. So let me set up the camera again and we'll get started. So the first way I'm going to ink my stamp is by using one of the paints with the dauber on top. You can also dab paint onto like a foam brush or a regular brush and ink that way, but I don't tend to like that because a lot of times you get the brush strokes. If that's what you're looking for, that's fine. But I find more of the pouncing motion to be a little bit better for a better inking. So there's my stamp that's inked, and I'm just going to go ahead and stamp it onto the cardstock, and there is the result. And so that's one way. And then the other thing I would also recommend is that you clean your stamps immediately so the ink doesn't dry. I'm going to wing it and let it sit there for a minute while I do the other one. So this is the way that I normally ink my stamps. I take my felt ink pad and I just kind of daub some paint on it. Not too much, you don't want it really globby. Just kind of onto a portion of the felt. And then you just use it like an ink pad. You dab your stamp into the paint. Sorry, I got cut off, but we're going to try and keep going. So I was saying you just kind of dab your stamp into the paint, and there it is inked. And then you can go ahead and stamp with it. And that gave a pretty good impression. That one had a lot of open space, so that was pretty easy to ink and stamp with. Now this one doesn't have as much open space, so it can kind of pool and get globbed into the crevices. And so what I do in that case is I tap it off a little bit onto the uninked portion, and then I can go ahead and stamp with it and basically get all the blobs off. And there you go. And I'm going to turn the camera around and take a better look. So there was one that was stamped with the Adirondack, the one with the dauber. And then here are the other two that I stamped with the felt ink pad. So I hope that helps, ladies, and thanks for joining me today.